I'm Kyle Keaton. I'm out here at Cedar Keys where Hurricane Idalia is coming through. Winds at 100. Right with you. Both the land, the air, all meet. So you're going to get the raw, harshest winds right here. Reporting to you live from Keaton Beach in Florida. Stuck in a Cat 4. I cut a tire going through the forest. So now I got to change a tire in this garbage. Not ideal. Can't find the spare. Oh, because there is none.
Before I tell you about how I didn't have a spare, let's back up to the start of Hurricane Idalia.
In the potential impact zone right now, who is weighing what to do?
You have to leave. There's just no two ways about it. I can tell you from last year that many folks sat in Fort Myers Beach thinking that Hurricane Ian was going to go by them, and it turned right, and we saw just an unfathomable amount of death and destruction. You can't hope that the models are right. You just have to go. My kids are gone. I'm a Floridian myself, and my kids are evacuated up in Pennsylvania with my brother. So if that tells you anything, that the storm chaser is taking the same precaution. That's all you need to know.
I mean, I absolutely hear you, and we are out of time, but in just about 10 seconds, why are you staying, Kyle? What drives you? Why do you do what you do?
For the people. I do this for the people, to make sure they know what's coming at them. So thank you for asking that.
All right. Storm Chaser Kyle Keaton, wishing you all the best. Stay safe, and thank you so much.
Natasha did in just a few seconds with 3 producers, couldn't do in 3 hours in an old warehouse in Lake Charles for the show deadline to disaster. I was thinking of all the storm survivors I've had the privilege to work with. At the moment she asked me that question, got a late start getting on the cane after my media obligation. I crossed the state and made it onto the other side of Cedar Key just after sunset.
Said to be 100, 120 miles an hour. Heavy surge is going to be coming through here. That's going to be the main problem we're going to run into. Hopefully we get out of here before then. All right, so that's what we're seeing with Idalia right now. I'm just going to keep trying to bring you guys as close as I can. I might be able to set up shop on one of these buildings. My fear is that these old buildings, if these come down, I'm dead. I mean, that's a 40, 50 story or foot collapse, and then all the debris. So probably okay. I mean, these things have seen some stuff, but it's like, it's rough, man. It's a rough way to go. Ideally, I'd like to find a nice concrete structure, but that is just not going to be the case out here. This will all get ripped up by the ocean. If we see a 10 to 12 foot surge through here, all this is coming up. I mean, look at how brittle everything is now.
I was weighing my options and looking at what was going to be my ultimate spot for this hurricane. And the more I looked at it, the more I knew that this wasn't it. But I needed to at least keep my options open.
Look at this, I'm 50, 60 feet in the air. Hurricane Idalia, I'm out here in Cedar Keys, Florida, where the wind is ramping up. 100, 120 mile an hour winds coming at us. The conditions are supposed to be brutal. 12 to 15 foot of surge, supposed to wipe this whole place out. Reporting live to you from Cedar Keys. What do you think of this?
Mad, dude.
I'm here at Keaton Beach where Hurricane Idalia is making landfall as a Category 4 hurricane. Winds in excess of 150 miles an hour. This is raw limit of wind right where the land, the air all meet. So you're going to get the rawest, harshest winds right here.
Very risky call going from Keaton Beach over to Steinhatchee, and along the way I got hit by some debris in a tree.
Sketchy. Woo! That's raw. Ouch. I have got to get to high ground. I think I've got a tire going low. Oh, that tree's trying to come down. Big tree's trying to come down. It's definitely... Yeah, I think I got a tire going down. Probably going to be in a tough situation here. Oh, that tree's trying to come down. All these trees are going to start snapping. Got to get to higher ground. Definitely in a tight one here. Second I get clubbed with a tree. Whoa. It's gonna be that's gonna be a game over situation. You want to be careful when you're doing this, especially when you're alone. Right now I'm just trying to, I got a tire going low, and I got to get to elevation here before this. But we're Cat 4. Oh, that's a tornado. That was a tornado right there. Brief one. It's definitely it's a high degree of difficulty. I felt that one too. My ears popped. Taking some debris. Yep, and another one. Spin ups. That's 2 spin ups right in a row. It's definitely putting a run on this. But I gotta get out of. I gotta get off the sea floor here. So figure out this tire going down here when I get up to some elevation. Look at that. Look at it. It's just trying to come down right there. Look at all those trees. Whoa, 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 whoa. My fear is one of those coming through the windshield. And, oh. Tough spot. Let's see here. Super sketch. I really don't like this. Oh! Not ideal. I might have cut 2 tires back there, but I had to get out of that. That was a thump. Definitely gonna be a nice knot on the top. This tree's trying to come down too. Just a matter of time till we get a tree coming across the front. But you can see, like, this forest is taking a beating. Look at it, it's all laid over. Just like here. This is what, I had a lot of guys messaging me asking about this being their first cane, and I was like, that's crazy. It's crazy. And this is why. This is really tough roads. I mean, at any time I could get smashed by any of these trees, and my day could be over. That's tough to go on your first one. So, I'm taking some good hits from some big branches, but so far, so good. It's just that, you know, you want to make sure when you go into your first cane, you know, I would recommend, like what I did, you spend your first 1.5 canes inside of a parking structure. Yeah, big one. Oh man, that felt like a twister trying to come down right there. Woo! Gotta get out of there. That's bad. Almost bit the farm back there. Definitely a bad situation here. Took a risk on this one, but hopefully just get up here to an open spot and I can just ride it out.
I was supposed to go with another chaser, and at the last second his work called him back because of the hurricane. I ended up taking Courtney's car, and in checking things at the last second I thought the spare was there, and it ultimately wasn't.
For these smaller trees I don't feel as bad. I mean, those other ones, those are widowmakers, man. Those kill you. Ooh. Whoa, Nelly. That was big. Okay, stuck in a Cat 4. I cut a tire.
At that point, I knew that's where I was going to be stuck, just 2 miles from the Gulf. I wanted to walk through all the way down to the service road to the Gulf, but realizing real quickly these trees were snapping. With wildlife being bears, gators, and panthers, I didn't want to be in there when they're all spooked. So I made the ultimate call just to stay in the open. But I was rewarded. In trying not to die for the eye wall came right over me. And while it wasn't the most spectacular stadium effect, it was still amazing. Ultimately, it cost me a lot to get to this point, but this is what I wanted to bring the public. This is what I wanted to see.
Right. Wow, this is it, man. This is the best, worst case scenario I could ever ask for. Look at that. Oh my God. And it goes all the way around. I got to see your dirty eye.
And that was the end of that. I'd survived Hurricane Idalia. The other wall had come and passed, and then it was a matter of taking in all the damage. Once I realized there was going to be aircraft overhead, I decided it wasn't the best idea for me to be down at the Gulf. They could mistake me as someone in desperate need, and I do not want to take away from resources, so I turned around and went back.
This is a small dose of what I was receiving when that Cat 4 came through. This is ground zero of where the Cat 4 hurricane that made landfall, Hurricane Idalia, this is right where the trees falling down all around me. It's a tough situation. I was in a tight one, man. I clipped a piece of wood. Wish I wouldn't have clipped that wood because it put me down. But now I'm here in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if I got bears and panthers, gators, whatever. Something's stalking me here. So it's never a dull moment when you do this. I can definitely tell you that. Reporting to you live in the middle of a swamp in a forest that's been knocked down, shredded, and whacked up like a weed whacker. Look at these. 15 foot tall right there of just root. These huge trees. These were all falling down when I came out trying to figure out a different situation. Look at the size of this.
I sat there for hours. 6 hours went by. Not a soul in sight. I was thinking to myself, I guess I could be here for days if it need to be. Or I could walk. I had supplies. Barely any wildlife. The only birds I saw, both natural and man-made, were both over me. But I didn't wave. I wasn't in need of help. I'm not allowed to ask for help. Special forces don't get to get bailed out, and we're special forces of weather. We can't take away from the emergency services meant for the public. And I was just meant to ride it out. But lo and behold, 8 hours later, 2 state policemen. They're super kind. I sat there, and then National Guard came.
See the National Guard are coming through, clearing the roadways. Not far from this location. After I had a tree take out my tire, so they've kindly let me stay here, even though the roads are closed, and I'll be camping in my car tonight.
Internally, I was furious with myself for putting myself in this position and not being able to lend a hand and help. Looking back, I should have just left the car there and hopped in with the Cajun Navy when they came by. Many lessons were learned from this whole process.
Cajun Navy, trying to make it down. Roads are all shut down. I'm gonna be camping here for the night. And that's a wrap, man. Some great people in this world to help you out. People heard I was stranded out here, and they came and got me over the border, or over the lines. So I'm super grateful, and gonna get back out of here and get home to my kids.
Randy and his girlfriend saw my live stream that morning. Got a call from his sister. Several locals were watching it. They saw what was coming at them. and a fate and a twist of irony. My stream helped them, and in turn, he helped me. We drove all the way back, exchanging storm stories.
Else?
Yeah. It was, I mean, I'll show you some trees. I got some pictures right here.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, yeah, we got, it fell all around us, man. I'm talking about all around us.
Powderly, Texas. We have EF4, we were right on it too. And in Powderly, Texas, and then popped the Red River into Idalia.
1993.
Really?
Yeah, 1993. We had no idea.
This is something out here.
So a 25-foot tidal wave came up?
Straight up the canal, Keaton Beach. I've never
Really?
seen.
And it,
Yeah.
how many?
Everybody out.
And it wiped everybody out. I'm talking people hanging from palm trees.
How many people?
What, about 50 people died?
Wow.
Something like that.
And it was a no-name storm.
No-name
huh?
storm happened in the middle of the night, March the 13th, 1993.
Wow.
Friday, March the 13th.
Really?
1993.
Oh, that's just gut-wrenching.
So, you know, we are like, you know, okay.
Same state troopers you saw may or may not have broke protocol and gave Randy a call and said, "You can hop over the lines. Go fetch him. He means good." I found that out later, and I'm super grateful, both to everybody, the public, those that watch the stream. I put myself in the line of fire for the public for this very reason. I have to take risks, sometimes bigger than I should. And ultimately, I was ready to stay there for days. I was not going to take away from resources. It's just a big no-no. You're done for after forever. That doesn't leave. I'll look back on some of the decisions I made that got me to that point. But in the end, I was ready to take the consequences that I served myself.
Hell of a day. And here's the crux of it too. My little brother doesn't want to hear that I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere and I'm not going to make it back in time. So it's hell or high water to get my ass on a plane. And I'm far, I mean deep. I'm deep in the bayou swamps of Florida. And I got to get all the way to Philly. It'll happen. I'll make it happen. I always do. But this one's pushing it. It's pushing it. Definitely pushing it.
Not only did he tow me and find me tires at his buddy's house with the tire machine, they also fed me a warm dinner, and I'm super grateful.
But stay tuned.
Just right in front of us was a crew out of St. Pete's. They drove right up on here in a landfall. You always see, leaving any disaster zone, a huge caravan of emergency vehicles getting ready to go help.
We will be well to the west of it, well above it, but we probably still will pick up a couple of bumps just from that weather. So, as always, we ask that you pay attention to that seatbelt sign and to your flight attendant.
Can you tell us more about this? Why do you do this work?
Well, like, here's a prime example. The folks that came and got me, they were tow truck drivers in Perry, Florida, and they were watching my stream, and they saw what was coming at them, and it wasn't just moments later that they sheltered because the trees were falling around them. So that's a prime example from the last time I spoke with you of why I do that is folks. And then they came out and rescued me. There was going to be no tire shops open, no tow trucks, and the police actually let them behind the lines that were closed. I was in an area that was cordoned off from the National Guard and the police, and they let them through. And it goes full circle. My stream helped them, and then they came and rescued me, and that's why I do it.
Yeah, and our Stephanie Haynes actually was on the ground in Perry yesterday showing us some of the damage there, and it was really intense to see some of the trees down into homes, the trees sort of at these 90-degree angles, just showing the strength of the wind there. And of course, there was a third-generation hardware store that was just absolutely destroyed in all of this. I think, we expect the storm surge and the flooding, the water we see along a lot of the coast. Were you surprised to see the damage inland in places like Perry?
I was actually blown away because once you get that far inland, a lot of times the winds will subside quite a bit, and it's still packed a punch. I mean, we went through and we saw caved in roofs, we saw tops missing off roofs, we saw a lot of flooding. I was quite surprised with what we saw in Perry. And again, I was stuck for over 8 hours, so when I got in, the water was still there later on.
Kyle, very quickly, can I ask you, is there one story that is going to stick with you out of this?
Yeah, it's going to be on the way back. They were telling me about how many fatalities there were in the 1993 no-name storm, and I had never heard of it, and I'm sure the folks hadn't. and it came through in the middle of the night, and there was a lot of folks that passed away. And it forwarded me to like what we had seen with how little fatalities we've seen. Now, I don't know the official count, but right now I think it's an incredibly low number. So connecting the two, going from a storm that had done a lot of damage and deaths and hadn't had a name to one that everybody was ready for, that was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. All right, Storm Chaser Kyle Keaton, appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Well, current weather and Philly winds out of the...
It's always weird coming back into society after a hurricane. Everybody here in the Uber line just sitting on their phones.
I love you. I'm so glad you're back. I love you.
I love you, Bubby.
Dad, pick me up.
Okay.
Dad, pick me up.
I love you.
Yeah.
I'm picking you up. You're so heavy. Oh, you're so big. Okay, crawl. You gotta come on.
Yeah.
Are you gonna crawl up? Oh, you did it.
I'm gonna get that for me.
What's that?
Because I'm worried about you.
Oh. You don't have to worry about me.
Oh, so you're like Techno Pig, but out of Minecraft and in real life.
What?
Techno Pig never dies.
No, that's me then. I'm Technopig. Yeah. Love you.
Right in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah.
Is that bad?
Yeah. You did it like that, so I did it like that. Guess what I got yesterday at the store?
What'd you get?
A princess